Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
We are learning more about the criminal justice reform group that's been lockstep with District Attorney Joe Gonzalez for nearly his entire 5-year tenure.
Yesterday, right here on the news at 6, we revealed the hundreds of pages of messages between Gonzalez, his first assistant, and the founder of the Austin-based Ren Collective. KSAT investigates. Dylan Collier with more on this mysterious group.
Founded less than 4 years ago by Austin-based attorney Jessica Brand, the Ren Collective describes itself as a strategic advising firm. And while it was first created as a for-profit limited liability company, Texas Secretary of State records show the entity forfeited its tax certificate in the summer of 2022. When you go to donate to Ren on its website, you are directed to the PayPal account for Social and Environmental Entrepreneurs, or SEE. The entity was first formed as a nonprofit in Delaware in 1987 as the American Soviet Film Initiative, a nonprofit aimed at promoting educational and cultural exchanges between the U.S. and the then Soviet Union through films and television programs. By the mid-90s, with the USSR broken up, the entity had changed its name to Social and Environmental Entrepreneurs and appeared to be operating out of Southern California, altering its mission to include activities promoting world peace and environmental and cultural preservation. Today, the nonprofit sponsors projects pushing for progressive change for social and environmental justice. What was a modest nonprofit revenue of over $21 million a year has ballooned the past 5 years to over $73 million, a vast majority of the funds coming from contributions and grants. A SEE official today described the nonprofit as Ren's fiscal sponsor, but said she had no information on whether Brand and her staff are paid employees of the California nonprofit. Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez, during an appearance on KSAT's Q&A last night, defended his years-long professional relationship with Brand, saying she helps with messaging in a volunteer capacity.
We didn't hire her. We haven't exchanged any money.
That volunteer capacity included hundreds of pages of written conversations between her, the DA, and his first assistant. Brand did not respond to an email from KSAT today seeking comment on how she and other members of her team are compensated. For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
KSAT broke this story yesterday, and we will continue to lead the way when it comes to holding public officials accountable. For a closer look at the texts, emails, and other communications between the Ren Collective and Bexar County District Attorney Joe Gonzalez and his first assistant, just scan this QR code on your screen.
Let's turn to the weather out there right now. It's been a pleasant day outside. We're enjoying a nice stretch, but of course, we've got that eye on rain chances in the forecast. Adam.
Yeah, we do. Rain chances definitely in the forecast. They're on the way, and they're going to be here just around the corner. And we're talking Friday night. Between now and then, we have a few other elements to talk about. High thin clouds streaming overhead will give us a decent sunset, but I think they're a little too thick to give us one of the really spectacular sunsets. Either way, better than nothing. 42 degrees this morning, 69 in the afternoon. There's some of that cloud cover coming in from the southwest. Mainly high clouds, but these are going to get lower as we go through the night and likely have some fog to start the day tomorrow. So these high clouds turning into a little bit of fog in the morning tomorrow. That's after midnight, especially a little bit closer to sunrise. 56 at 10 o'clock. By midnight, we're at 52 degrees. Tomorrow morning, with some of that patchy fog, we start the day in the upper 40s. 48 degrees around San Antonio, closer to 50, Floresville and Poth at 46 in Comfort. I'll have the latest futurecast, time out that rain, and how much we can get in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Adam. Let's take a look at traffic out there right now. Highway 281 at the Quarry, the southbound lanes. Those are the ones that are packed. They are slow going at this hour, headed into downtown. Northbound, zipping right along, but no major issues out there on the roads.
Bexar County had been poised to drop $900,000 on a contract for gun safety outreach and education, but now they could be walking that all back. Garrett Berger tells us why it stalled and what some local groups hope gets used in its place.
Let's go ahead and take up the individual items.
It wasn't on the agenda, but it was on many minds last week at the Bexar County Commissioners Court meeting.
I urge you to prioritize nonprofits like ours over ad agencies for the betterment of our community.
Back in 2022, commissioners unanimously approved spending $1 million to support countywide outreach and education efforts on safe, responsible gun ownership and safe storage. But now, with a contract set to be awarded for most of that amount, a commissioner who initially voted for it is pushing back.
So it was packaged into something that the court wouldn't necessarily vote against.
Tommy Calvert asked the contract be pulled from last week's agenda. He thinks there are better ways to spend the money than what he termed an advertising campaign.
And so if you're interested in gun violence prevention, you have to invest in groups that do that work.
We got our hands on the proposal county staff was supposedly going to recommend. That marketing agency proposed spending half the contract on paid media and another $270,000 for grassroots and outreach. The county spokeswoman would not confirm which bid was set to be recommended, though she did say the intention for this funding has always been to work with community groups to spread the word about responsible gun ownership to help reduce gun violence. Still, local groups think there are possible alternatives.
Funding should be directed towards those making a direct impact in the community.
If Bexar County wants to reduce gun violence, it should work with members of the community who understand community violence.
The Deputy Sheriff's Association also wants to push funding that way.
And it's the mentors, the uncles, the aunts, the grandmothers, the brothers that have been through the system and know it's not good, that are the ones that really make the difference.
County Judge Peter Sakai, who was not in office when original funding was approved, released a statement this week saying, "After hearing from all the community voices at Commissioner's Court last week, I've asked the Public Information Office to take these comments and incorporate them into the structure of the proposed gun safety and outreach program. It is my hope to see this come back before the court in March." Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
We have learned the name of a woman police say was killed by her husband. They discovered her body after SAPD says that he was found covered in her blood. The victim's name is 51-year-old Sheila Jo Portillo Hanks. She was found Monday morning. On her Facebook page, she recently wrote that she needed and wanted a friend to call or text her. Her husband, Carlos Portillo, was found near their apartment on Vance Jackson. He was arrested and charged with murder. It is weighing heavy on the minds of neighbors.
He had blood on his face. He had something on his face. I didn't know what it was, and on his arm. It's hard to believe.
Records show that Carlos Portillo is still behind bars and has arrests dating back more than a decade. If you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, KSAT 12 has a list of resources on our website right now. Just scan the QR code you see here or go to the domestic violence page of KSAT.com.
A group of House Republicans moving forward with plans to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. The Homeland Security Committee voted just after midnight this morning to recommend the 2 articles of impeachment to the full House for what they're calling willful and systemic refusal to enforce immigration laws at the southern border. The full House vote on the impeachment could come next week. If voted out, Mayorkas would be the first cabinet official to be removed from their position in 150 years.
Staying on Capitol Hill, a package for wartime aid for Israel and Ukraine that includes boosted border security is stalling out in Congress. Senate negotiators are struggling to come to an agreement on the terms of that package. Key senators have quietly put together an outline of a deal that would continue to support Israel and Ukraine's wars while also adding more border enforcement and immigration policies to U.S. law. However, even if the Senate passes such a deal, it's unlikely lawmakers in the House pass it, as former President Donald Trump has urged Republicans to vote no on any potential deal. Earthquakes in South Texas. You don't hear that often, but it is happening more often. And yes, fracking has something to do with that. But understanding the fracking process is key, and so is explaining the risk versus the reward.
When you're finishing that process, you have to pump all that fluid back out. That ends up being a pretty nasty slurry of stuff.
We take you to the Eagle Ford Shale, where some of these small quakes have happened. And we look at whether San Antonio could feel one. It's in a new KSAT Explains, and it's coming up at 6:30. We'll be right back.
President Joe Biden determined to fight back after 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in the Middle East. At least he says he is. Iran's response and what an American response could look like.
Welcome back. I'm Stefania Jimenez, and this is what we're working on for you tonight on The Night Beat.
Ring is making it more difficult for law enforcement to get doorbell video. Tonight on the Night Beat, the company's reason for the decision and how local departments are reacting.
Also, plus the students expecting financial aid for college are going to have to wait longer to find out how much help they'll get. It's about the new FAFSA form. There are delays, and tonight we're going to tell you how local universities are handling that. We'll see you for these stories and so much more tonight on the Night Beat.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yep. Tensions in the Middle East continuing to grow. Iranian officials speaking out today after President Joe Biden announced he has made a decision on how to respond after that deadly drone attack in Jordan killed 3 American soldiers stationed there. ABC's Rena Roy reports on new U.S. sanctions against Iran.
As tensions rise in the Middle East, top Iranian officials speaking out. The commander-in-chief for Iran's Revolutionary Guard saying the U.S. and Iran share an understanding of each other, adding, while we are not looking for war, we are not afraid of war, and we do not run away from it. The White House preparing a response to the deadly drone attack that killed 3 U.S. service members in Jordan over the weekend.
The response will be a justified response to attacks on our troops that caused the death of 3 American soldiers. We don't see conflict with Iran. We don't want conflict with Iran.
It's unclear when, how, or where the Biden administration will respond. But a senior official tells ABC News that the operation will last several days and hit multiple deliberate targets, most of them inside Syria, including facilities that enabled the initial attack.
We believe that the attack in Jordan was planned, resourced, and facilitated by an umbrella group called the Islamic Resistance in Iraq.
Though the president holds Iran responsible for supplying weapons for the militants, another official says he's unlikely to order any strikes inside Iran over concern it could expand the conflict. The U.S. still facing threats. Today, a U.S. aircraft striking down a surface-to-air missile in a Houthi-controlled part of Yemen, a U.S. official saying it posed an imminent threat. The U.S. State Department announcing the U.S. is sanctioning 3 entities and an individual accused of supporting the organizations funding the attacks on the U.S. military and ships in the region. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Have you heard the questions about Stanley cups? They're just the latest pop culture trend. These cups come in all kinds of different shapes, colors, sizes. They're flying off shelves as soon as they get in stores all over the country. But some people fear that these cups could contain lead. A spokesperson for the company, Stanley, acknowledged the material used to seal the vacuum insulation at the base of the cup. It does contain some lead. But he also says that once that area is sealed, it's inaccessible to people who are using the cups. Doctors say that ditching the Stanley is not necessary.
If you are using these cups correctly and they are not broken in terms of their sealant, I don't think you need to be terribly concerned.
In a statement, the Stanley company says it is rare for the base of a cup to come off, exposing the seal. But if that does happen, the cup is eligible for a replacement under the lifetime warranty. A reminder that tomorrow we have our Doc Talk segment happening right here at 6:30. Dr. Amy Cobb with University Health will be here in studio answering your medical questions sent in by our own KSAT viewers. If you have a question you want answered, scan this QR code you see here on your screen. That will take you to our website, ksat.com, where you can send in your questions to be answered in an upcoming Doc Talk segment.
Doc Talk. Doc Talk. All right, let's talk about weather right now and the fact that it is another beautiful day. Sarah Spivey was here yesterday. She called these ditto days, Adam.
Yeah, the ditto days, copy and paste or Control-C, Control-V. Command-C, Command-V, depending on if you're a Mac or PC, right? Just want to be all-inclusive and sound hip. Like, yeah, I know Command-C, Command-V, right? Let's talk weather. Okay, we're moving on. We've got good rain chances coming Friday night. That's when our rain chances are at their best at 70%. So scattered to widespread rain is likely, even with some rumbles of thunder, and can't rule out a strong to severe storm. Between now and then, we do have some other noticeable changes, and one of them is fog. Starting early tomorrow morning, visibility is probably reduced to about 3 to 4 miles. I don't think it's going to be problematic tomorrow morning, and then it's gone by 9, 10 a.m. But Friday morning, I think the fog will be even more dense and problematic for the Friday morning commute. So other than a little bit of patchy fog in the morning tomorrow, we'll have some afternoon sun. 48 in the morning, near 70 later on in the day by the afternoon. And Friday will make it back up to around 70 degrees as well. Here's the big picture and the overall pattern that we're watching, and I'll get into the explanation of why it's becoming active again. But take a look at this cloud cover moving into West Texas, even streaming over our neck of the woods here. Little bit of precipitation with it. There's some energy. This is a weak shortwave in the upper atmosphere that's helping to generate those clouds, and the winds are steering them our way. So they'll continue to thicken up overnight along with a little bit of fog developing. But the main weather maker is this big wound up system here, this big upper level low that's moving into the Pacific Northwest. I mean, atmospheric river associated with this coming off the Pacific. Part of that is going to peel off, head our way, and generate its own areas of mountain snow in the Rockies and rainfall elsewhere, even for us. Probably shortly after sunset on Friday, then especially Friday night, while you're sleeping, you may be woken up by a few rumbles of thunder, and then being really pushed east of here by Saturday morning to midday. I think by noon we'll really start to clear out on Saturday. So main time frame is Friday evening plans, and then overnight Friday, early Saturday morning. I think it'll mostly be wrapped up a little after sunrise. Rainfall potential, I'm showing you a computer model here. And this one I think is a little aggressive, a little on the higher end, but it does illustrate that where we see a few of the heavier showers pop up, and if some of them follow each other, a little bit of training, we could have around an inch to slightly more than an inch in some neighborhoods. So cross your fingers for your neighborhood. It's going to get gusty behind it, though. We'll have a clear weekend, Saturday and Sunday, but you will notice the wind gusts. They'll be picking up to nearly 40 miles per hour on Sunday. So you've got fog the next couple of mornings, especially Friday. Then we've got Friday night, rain and a few storms, and then a very gusty Sunday on the way. Here's more of why we're seeing this pattern. Look at these warm temperatures. I mean, it's almost February. Minneapolis is 50, Bismarck 44, Saskatoon's 37. My favorite cities above freezing right now. Look at, you get up into northern Canada, it's near 40 degrees. This is more of a typical El Nino pattern where we've got the jet stream bumping northward up into Canada. So here's just the jet stream. And keep in mind, the jet stream is the delineation between the warmer temperatures to the south of it and the colder temperatures to the north. The southern stream jet, the subtropical jet, has been more active, and that favors rain for us like we had last week, and we're going to get again into Friday night as that southern stream jet noses its way here into San Antonio. Today, very important day in San Antonio weather history. We're going to jump into that at 6:45.
All right, weather history coming up. Thank you, Adam.
All right, Spurs back in action tonight, taking on the Orlando Magic, and usually, maybe in years past, I'd say the Magic are winnable games, but they're actually above 500, right?
Yeah, they've improved a lot. They're a really fun team to watch this year. So I'll tell you, tonight's game is going to be fun. The Spurs have just 10 wins this season, but this month, compared to the first 2 months, have seen significant improvement. We'll break it down after the break and preview tonight's matchup. Plus, Victor Wembanyama surprises the French immersion class at the International School of San Antonio. It's the cutest thing you'll see this week. In the first 2 months of the NBA regular season, the San Antonio Spurs went through noticeable growing pains when 7'4" rookie Victor Wembanyama was entered into an already young lineup. In fact, point guard Trey Jones, who was coming off of the bench, was the only two-man pairing with Wembanyama that had a positive plus-minus rating. But that all changed in January. Wembanyama's plus-minus rating with the other San Antonio starters are all positive. That includes Wembanyama's much improved two-man game with Devin Vassell.
I think it's been a lot better. I think we get pretty much a lob every game. I think that when I'm coming into the screens, we've been getting some good stuff off the rolls. I know it's in other teams' scouting reports that we're coming off and we're coming into a two-man. So now we just got to, grow and And, you know, there's certain stuff that they're trying to take away, whether they're trying to take away the lob, whether they're trying to take away me getting to the basket. We just got to grow from that and, you know, adjust. But I think it's been a lot better.
Tonight, the Spurs look to get back into the win column against the Orlando Magic. The Magic are also young, but find themselves one game above 500, led by last year's Rookie of the Year, Paolo Banchero. Banchero, a 6'10" power forward, is leading the Magic in points, rebounds, and assists. At this morning's shoot-around, Banchero shared his thoughts on facing this year's Rookie of the Year favorite, Wemby.
Well, he's 7'5" with an 8-foot wingspan. So it's, you know, that the physical, I think, tools speak for themselves. You know, he's hard to score on at the rim. So you just got to find different ways to get him away from the paint and, you know, try and get better looks with him out of there. But yeah, I think at that height and with that, you know, reach, you know, he can block pretty much any shot he wants.
Both teams are trying to bounce back from losses where they blew leads. Should be a fun one inside Frost Bank Center. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Hey, and Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins have been ruled out with injuries per the latest Spurs injury report.
We have a special guest. Do you know who it is? Bonjour, toi. Il n'y a personne dans la maison. Commençons de suite l'entraînement.
Yesterday, Victor Wembanyama took a break from being the enemy on the court, as he likes to say, and surprised kids at the International School of San Antonio with a visit. Wemby walked in to the French immersion classroom and spent time with the children. So cute. Wemby was there as part of an official award ceremony, presenting the school with a plaque that shows the school is offering a quality French immersion program.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
Well, the Commanders are the only team left in the NFL without a head coach, as the Seahawks filled their vacancy today, which means Washington is the last possible landing spot for Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. This is Quinn's third consecutive offseason interviewing for a head coaching job, and at this point, he's already had multiple interviews with the Commanders. Reports say Quinn would be happy to return to Dallas, but if he gets the opportunity to be a head coach again, he's expected to leave. We'll hear a resolution as we expect in the next couple of days. But back to Wemby. How cute was that?
Yeah, I love that video.
Yeah, I would take French just to hang out with Wemby.
Just to hang out with Wemby. Same.
Did you say some of the kids were just climbing on him?
They were so comfortable with him.
So
yeah, it was like they were family, honestly. It was so cute.
Très magnifique.
Wow.
All the French I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up next, KSAT explains.
What did you say, Cassie?
It doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does.
KSAT explains is up next. We have enough wild weather in South Texas, so adding earthquakes to our list, not something that we necessarily want to deal with.
No, still those who live south of San Antonio have had a steady dose of rattling over the last decade. Why is that?
And with San Antonio sitting on a fault, could we be facing a large earthquake in the future? In this episode of KSAT Explains, meteorologist Justin Horn explores earthquakes and the risk that sits below us.
Life in rural South Texas is quiet for those who live here. If you don't mind the occasional conversation amongst cattle. It's even quieter at night. That is until July 19th, 2023 rolled around.
Well, we were totally asleep. I mean, me and my wife and the dog, and all of a sudden we heard a big boom. Grabbed a flashlight, grabbed a gun, and went out to investigate.
Just down the road, Paul's father, Weldon, got the same jarring wake-up call.
Went out and looked around, thought maybe our butane tank had exploded. Thought a plane crashed or something like that.
Concern prompted a call to the sheriff's office.
They said, no, y'all had an earthquake. And this was about 11:30. And I said, no, earthquakes don't explode like that. I mean, it was a big boom, just a great big explosion.
Turns out it was a shallow, weak earthquake, measuring 3.8 in magnitude. It may have been jarring, but it wasn't the first time. Briggs recalls another tremor around 2011.
I was feeding cows. I didn't feel it because I was on the tractor. But when I came back in the house, my wife and daughter had said something about it. Said, "Did you feel that?" And I said, "No." And she was sitting at the table, and the floor just shook for about 5 seconds.
The Riggs live along a rural road called Black Hill. It lies just southwest of Floresville. Last year's earthquake was one of more than 200 measured within the last decade, all within a 50-mile radius of the Riggs homestead, and all happening on the Eagle Ford Shale, a busy oil and gas region of Texas.
There's one directly down here, and there's 2 or 3 over here. There's actually got one that you can see at night.
Probably starting around 10 years ago, we have seen a pretty dramatic increase in the number of earthquakes that have been happening in Texas.
They absolutely are becoming more common. If you go back about 30 years, we had on average 1 earthquake per decade. And now, as anyone living south of San Antonio knows, we have, hundreds.
And by now, you've probably heard that there's a connection to oil and gas. This is, in fact, undeniably true. But how exactly? And does the future bring concerns for damaging earthquakes as the Eagle Ford play stays active? Before we get there, understanding hydraulic fracturing, which has revolutionized the oil and gas industry, and the subsequent disposal of waste is key.
Fracking is a process that allows oil and gas reserves to be freed up. It's done by drilling a well and then eventually inserting water and sand into that well to break up the bedrock below. That frees up the oil and gas.
You are going to inject fluids, sand, and a cocktail of chemicals, which every company has their own proprietary blend of chemicals, at very high pressures, the high enough pressures that it will crack the rock.
In some cases, millions of gallons of water is injected into the well rapidly. Sand is forced into the fractures to keep them open, and then the oil or gas is extracted. But that's not where it ends.
When you're finishing that process, you have to pump all that fluid back out. That ends up being a pretty nasty slurry of stuff.
The preferred method to get rid of that nasty slurry is to inject it deep back into the ground, which of course raises more concerns.
It is very tightly regulated, and if everything is done by the book, there should be no danger to aquifers.
These two connected but separate processes have led to division among geologists. Which one specifically could be blamed for the seismic activity?
So if you had asked me these questions 5 years ago, I would have said that it was almost entirely the injection of wastewater from fracking that was causing earthquakes.
But new research is revealing that it's the fracking process itself mostly causing the issues. And something else to keep in mind here, fracking is not organically creating the shaking. There are pre-existing faults all across South Texas. It's just that they'd never be active in our lifetime if not for the pressure that fracking creates, which is why they term this type of seismic activity as human-induced.
I mean, the vast majority of these are not felt. And even the ones that are felt, they are typically in the magnitude 3 range.
Which may shake your dishes. It's often not until magnitude 4 and higher that you begin to talk about damage. But as fracking continues, is there a concern that the intensities of the earthquakes will increase?
No, I don't think they have any immediate need to be worried. Certainly not for loss of life or major damage to infrastructure.
And according to Cannon, out of thousands of wells, only around 10% of those drilled ever cause an earthquake. Which brings us to a philosophical question. If there's little damage and the oil and gas industry is benefiting, do we take the good with the bad? Other than being a nuisance, are these earthquakes a problem? No, said those we talked to.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Just know not to put certain things up on shelves and stuff, but we only had one small little picture frame fall down off a shelf, and that's it.
It's good for the economy, not just Texas, not just Pleasanton, Atascosa, Wilson, Karnes County, but for the state.
You need only look at the Eagle Ford cities to see the money it's injected into the economy. And while the Riggs have not directly benefited from oil companies drilling on their property, some of their neighbors have.
Maybe it'll come this way.
Sure.
That'd be all right.
We do live in an interconnected world where if we're not producing our own oil, we are relying on regimes in other parts of the world, some of which don't particularly like us, and having our own local sources of oil, even with things like induced seismicity that come along with them, is geopolitically advantageous.
So what about San Antonio? Could we feel tremors this far north?
Some people already have, but not because of the Eagle Ford Shale. We tell you why when KSAT Explains continues next.
We are talking South Texas earthquakes in today's KSAT Explains.
Justin Horn picks up where he left off, looking at whether the Alamo City could feel a real quake.
Now, let's shift north to a place that, for the most part, has avoided earthquakes. San Antonio. Remember, the Balcones Fault runs right through the city. It's an ancient fault that hasn't moved in millions of years.
These are old, really old faults that without the oil and gas production, we wouldn't have considered active. Or the evidence that they were last active is kind of millions of years ago. But these are faults that are sitting there. There wasn't stress accumulating on them until we started changing where the fluids are distributed under the ground.
In this case, though, the Balcones Fault also created the Edwards Aquifer, which comes with stringent regulation and protection by proxy.
Because the Balcones Fault system is so intimately tied to our local aquifer, there's no way that any regulator is ever going to allow any of this stuff anywhere near the Balcones Fault system.
In other words, San Antonio won't be shaking anytime soon, at least not in a big way. Still, those who work downtown might remember November 16th, 2022, when an earthquake occurred hundreds of miles away in West Texas.
In San Antonio that day, we started receiving numerous reports of those in high-rise buildings reporting shaking, which is a pretty eerie feeling considering that earthquake was some 300 miles away. Those on the ground never felt a thing.
If you imagine my finger being the building, as I move the base, a minor move in the base results in a much larger amplitude of motion at the top.
Which means the bulk of us will be none the wiser the next time the Earth decides to tremor under South Texas. And those who do feel the shaking from time to time,
that's a lot,
will just treat it as nothing more than a topic for some front porch conversation. For KSAT Explains, I'm meteorologist Justin Horn.
To check out all of our KSAT Explains coverage, scan this QR code. You can watch Explains anytime on demand on KSAT Plus, KSAT.com, or the KSAT YouTube channel.
Found that whole thing very interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Learned a lot.
Yeah. I didn't hear any thermometer talk in there, though. I was a little...
Oh, Steve. One reason why we can feel the earthquakes so far away, they're out near Midland, we can feel them in San Antonio, is because our ground is a lot more interconnected than, say, the West Coast in California, Washington, Oregon, where you get an earthquake and just a handful of miles away, you may not even feel it. But our ground is more connected, so when it shakes here, it reverberates over there. And you get to do a fun little move.
I'd say you just wanted to do that move.
Yeah, you worked that in.
All right, we've got some important weather history and rain to talk about coming right up.
A woman who police say was shot and killed by her husband on Monday had previously posted cries for help on Facebook. KSAT found Sheila Jo Portillo Hanks' Facebook page, where she recently mentioned that she needed and wanted a friend to call or text her. She was found dead in her apartment on Vance Jackson after police found her husband covered in blood nearby. That man is still behind bars tonight.
Man hit and killed by a car overnight. Now police are looking for its driver. It happened along Highway 90 near Loop 410. Police say the driver kept going after hitting the man who was trying to cross 90. Police said the suspect could have been driving a white pickup truck.
And Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas is one step closer to being impeached. A group of House Republicans bringing forward 2 articles of impeachment against Mayorkas for what they are calling mismanagement of the situation at the southern border. The full House of Representatives could vote on the matter as early as next week.
Are we in need of more rain? I'm enjoying the weather.
Yeah,
it's very nice, but I know how South Texas is. If we can get some more rain, we need it.
Yeah.
We are going to get more rain. We talked about that earlier. I'll have the latest forecast coming up in a moment. I do want to talk about some weather history. This is important, and it has to do with our record low temperature, not just for the day, but all time in recorded history in San Antonio. 0 degrees on this day back in 1949. That is the all-time coldest temperature ever recorded in the San Antonio area, and our records go back to 1885. Now, notice when you look at this list here, February 2021 not even included on here because the coldest we got then was down to 9 degrees officially. And to crack the top 5, you got to be at least 6 degrees. And it typically takes snow on the ground to get that cold. And with the snow that we had, 4.7 inches fell January 30th. 1949. So that night into the morning of the 31st, temperatures plummeted even below zero. From Poteet to Austin to Bernie, Fredericksburg, Kerrville takes the cake, 7 below back in 1949. One of our KSAT viewers has been watching, and we've been talking about this, and look, submitted this photo. Great uncles back in 1949. You see the snow on the ground, and I think he's even holding a little bit of snow on top of her head. Just a great vintage shot. So thank you so much for posting this and including it. We need more rain. And by the way, the new drought monitor will be updated tomorrow, and I anticipate more improvements. We'll bring that to you right away multiple times throughout the day and evening. But Friday night, that's our time frame, 70% chance. So scattered to widespread showers and even a few embedded downpours and thunderstorms are likely. There's a little bit of precipitation activity, West Texas, New Mexico, and into Mexico. But that's not going to be moving our way. We'll just get some extra clouds from this little ripple in the upper level flow. The big system that we're watching, and our rainmaker, is part of this big, broad circulation just off the west coast of the U.S., throwing this moisture and energy into the western U.S. and a lot of mountain snow. They'll be measuring it in feet, and rain for everybody else. So we're talking rain coming in after sunset, most likely after sunset on Friday. Of course, that timing can change, so check back in for the updates, especially as we get into high resolution model reach of this system. Anyway, Friday evening, and then Friday night off and on into very early Saturday morning. By sunrise, most if not all of it should be pushed out of here, and we'll start to clear out, and the weekend's looking sunny. Rainfall potential for most of us around San Antonio and surrounding areas, a ½ inch to an inch. I think most backyards will see about that. Of course, it depends on where the heaviest downpour is set up and if they train or if they follow each other. Higher accumulations farther east, up to 2 inches. 63 right now, dew point of 41. The temperature in dew point are going to get really close and meet up later tonight. That's going to lead to some areas of fog. So 48 degrees in the morning tomorrow for most of us, 46 in parts of the hill country with some patchy fog, but I don't expect it to be problematic. And then some sunshine in the afternoon, right near 70 degrees for the high temperature. So another comfortable, beautiful afternoon with a lack of mugginess out there and beautiful highs right near 70 degrees. Then we get into Friday. The rain moves in Friday evening, Friday night. It's going to be a relatively warm rain. I mean, we'll be in the low 70s Friday afternoon. Behind that activity this weekend, sunny but getting very gusty on Sunday. Gusts up to 40 miles per hour. So prepare for that.
Thank you, Adam.
Buc-ee's and Barbies in the buzz when we come back.
Buc-ee's is in the buzz today. The store is continuing its eastward expansion. Stores have popped up in Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas, and now the next world-famous travel stop will open up in Virginia.
The 74,000 square foot gas station will have 120 pumps, 24 electric car charging stations, and of course, will provide drivers on I-81 with clean bathrooms, friendly staff, and good food too. I think they're also moving into Phoenix.
Yeah, they're going everywhere. Okay, Mattel is selling a Super Bowl Barbie for the very first time, but you won't be able to get that Barbie until after the Chiefs and the 49ers face off in 2 Sundays in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's because the special edition Big Game Barbie will come dressed in the winning team's jersey and hat. She'll also hold a foam finger with the Super Bowl logo. I was trying to think if either team has a Ken, but I don't think I can't think of one right now.
I don't have to do much to change the colors.
No.
Final countdown is on now that Endeavour has landed at its final home. The retired NASA space shuttle, it was airlifted into the upright position Monday night and attached to an external fuel tank and 2 solid rocket boosters in Los Angeles.
Now contractors will finish building the Samuel Ocean Air and Space Center around Endeavour at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. When the exhibit opens, the Science Center will be home to the only vertical launch-ready display of a former NASA space shuttle. All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay, did you see this week with the first month of the year nearly over? Elmo took the pulse of the public, and it turns out as a whole, it doesn't seem that people are doing that well. On social media, the beloved Sesame Street character asked, "How is everybody doing?"
Yeah, the answers were not what Elmo was expecting. Celebrities, news outlets, fellow Sesame Street characters all replied with despair, dread, and exhaustion. Should have expected that from Oscar, though. So if you're feeling some doom and gloom right now, you're not alone. Sesame Street thanked Elmo for checking in and posted links to mental health resources.
Elmo always knows what to do.
Elmo cares.
He does. We'll be right back. That's all our time here on the News at 6. Thanks so much for watching.
See you back here on the Night Beat.